Every Monday is $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Get any best bet or daily package for only $9.
Oh, welcome to Bet On It. It is Monday morning, so you know what that means. We're talking some Monday Night Football. Only one game this week. I feel like we kind of got gypped a little bit. I was getting so used to those double headers. All jokes aside, I'm going to bring in our guys, Marco and Gianni. I want to give ourselves a little pat on the back. Well, I'm going to pat me and VR on the back. Our best bets absolutely crushed it. Marco, I told you on the show, do not go head-to-head with VR. And Cody Parkey F'd you in the A. I'm really sorry that happened to you. I'm very happy that VR and I cashed those Bengals tickets. So congratulations to us. Marco, would you like to take a word for the Browns kicker, Mr. Cody Parkey?
Well, you know what, Kelly? Congratulations. At least I didn't lose the play. We talked about it when we did the show. I was getting 3 and laying the 120. Gianni got it at 3.5, and that's the thing about shopping around. So I got a push on a game I'm supposed to win. Okay, congratulations to you. I got the touchdown. For God's sake, you got one job. Kick it through the uprights. He kicks it, I get the win, but it's all right. We'll take the push. And, Best Bets have done tremendous on the show. We swept the board on Saturday. And just a shout out, before I get off the kicker rant, let me just add that in a matter of 2 minutes of time from the Cleveland kicker missing the extra point, I also had the pleasure of watching my play yesterday, which I used on the show, and it was my top play for the weekend. I had the Tennessee Titans, and I'll be the first to admit they were the wrong side. But in the end, they had an opportunity to send the game to overtime. All he had to do was hit a 46-yard field goal. No problem. Drill it. We go to overtime with all of the momentum after coming from way back. And no, he misses it. And then I turn to the Cleveland game, and that happens. But you know what? We went 3-0 on Saturday with the best bets. And the best bets, Kelly, are now 13-2-1 the last 3 weeks. And we're getting shit on Twitter. What goes on here? I mean, Saturday night.
Marco, people, they just want to cherry pick, okay? I don't get it. I went 4-1 yesterday in the NFL, and I got more shit for saying that the trap game this week was the Packers at the Texans, and nobody wanted to let it go. And I'm like, look, man, I lost 3 units on that play. I'm not happy about it either. But it is going to happen. You just can't go through my page and pick the one loser. I'm sorry. That's not how this works.
Oh, I'm still getting stuff for the Jets 2 weeks ago. It's like Jets, ha. I'm going to get a
You
shirt
were a little
made.
early on that Jets play. You should have been on them this week as a divisional underdog. They finally were catching too many points. All jokes aside, it has been a really fun 3 weeks, and we love you guys for tuning in. VR, how was your weekend?
I had a really good weekend. As soon as Khabib won on Saturday, my weekend was set. I unloaded on him. I was betting him since that line opened till that line closed. Even at minus 300, I said that's a 30% return on investment for every dollar I bet. How am I not going to take advantage of that? And I swear, until the last minute, I was betting on him. So when that happened, it turned out well. I lost a little in college football, but I'm ahead for the season so far ahead in college football. We're good there. And I had a really good NFL. I didn't packages up because I didn't know if I'd have a big game. And I know guys that buy daily stuff, they want big plays. And I'm not all about that. I like to win for you today. But, my goal is to win for myself year after year. And if I don't have a big play, it's harder for me to put a package together. And I ended up going 12-6, 13-6 in week 7 NFL, which is a great week. Hit my $1,000 move on the Washington Redskins. So it's good. Again, what Marco touched on, when we share our picks here, you're going to agree with some, you're going to disagree with some. I know that going in. You better disagree with some because I'm not going to be 100%. So I hope that at least if I am wrong, maybe you learn something that could help you avoid something in the future, or see something that helps you profit more in the future. I stopped worrying about my results on free picks a long time ago. Honestly, I knew with the UFC, I put out a pick. Dana White tweets it out. It goes through the UFC. Millions of people see it. So I'm going to get bashed when I lose 100x what I've gotten used to prior to that stage. So I've gotten okay with the backlash because I know I've proved myself to get to that point. The reason I'm there is because I've proven I win long term. The reason I'm giving out MMA, UFC stuff is because for the last 5 years, I've killed myself to win at MMA, betting UFC, to make a name for myself to be in that position. So even if I lose the next 10 free picks, I'm securing where I'm at. You know what I mean? But I try to give winners out for people, but more importantly, try to give them stuff where they could become sharper. Because I always say 99 out of 100 people lose long-term betting sports, and 99 out of 100 people that share content lose. And we end up getting our content from losing bettors. And again, I'm not trying to say just listen to me and don't listen to anyone else. But the way I've been able to win long-term is not because I'm the smartest guy in the room. I found sources that win long-term, and I learned from them and pick their games and handicap their games. And someone could use me as that same source, and someone like Marco and someone like you and 10 other people like us. That's what we're here for. But again, you're going to agree with me, you're going to disagree with me. I'm okay with that. Hopefully, when you agree with me and I win, you cash some tickets. And this weekend, if you faded me, it didn't end up well for you. That much I can tell you.
No, you're absolutely right. And that is the unique thing with us over at WagerTalk. We have so many guys with so many different ideas, and we can kind of pick each other's brains. I think somebody had said the other day on Twitter something about I was no different than someone on ESPN. And I said, that's actually wrong. I am privy to a ton of information. I was asked by Bleacher Report this week to give out a pick on the Khabib fight. I knew based on last Monday that you were hammering the hell out of Khabib, but I said, hey, listen, I can't give out somebody minus 330 to these kids. Like, they're going to eat me alive. Let's look through the card and see what else we could do. Absolutely nailed that parlay. Super easy. Ended up being, I think, plus 130, which isn't amazing, but at least it helped kill some of the juice. And those type of connections are great. And that's what we're trying to do here on Bet On It. Let's move on to Monday Night Football. We have the LA Rams, currently a 6-point favorite across the board. It looks like total 44.5. A couple of offshores have 45. I'm not sure what to do with the total here, but before we started, I told you guys, this is what I'm doing with this game. I had heard early on, John Murray, my co-host on Kelly and Murray, had kind of said, hey, look, are the Bears a square dog this week? Early on, they were. They were getting a ton of tickets, and the line really hadn't moved. It kind of dipped down to 5.5 in some spots, but he said lean towards the Rams. So what I'm going to do now with the Rams at 6, I'm going to put the Rams in a teaser with a few games with next week. I put them in a teaser with the Detroit Lions, who are 2.5, the Atlanta Falcons, who are also 2.5, and the Green Bay Packers, who are 6.5, down to a half. Just need them to beat the Coach Zimmer-led Minnesota Vikings. And those are the 4 that I picked. 2 teams, 6-point teasers. I put them in with tonight's game. I know we got to wait a little while to catch those tickets, but if you want to get involved, I feel like that's a really easy way so you can still have action on the game, but you're not forcing a play. For me, I really didn't love tonight. I didn't really want to make an actual wager on the Rams or the total, but I have a feeling that you guys have maybe a little bit stronger of an opinion than I do. Marco, I'm going to go with you first. And then VR, before I read yours, or before we go to yours, I want to read something from Ralph Michaels. He just posted some TNA on Twitter, and now I'm going, wait a minute, pump the brakes. Maybe I am a little nervous here with this Rams winning outright.
Well, Kelly, hopefully I'll make you feel a little bit better. Of course, you went against me yesterday and got the money with the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll go ahead with that. Thank you, kicker again. But generally, when I look at a game, Kelly, how many times have you heard me say, if I can get the better defense getting points, sign me up. That's the end of the handicap. And that would clearly be the Chicago Bears tonight. But I'm also going to point out In addition to that, the Chicago Bears have played the tougher schedule. Why have they played the tougher schedule? Well, look at the Rams. They have played the entire NFC least already. So that's, going to inflate their numbers, and their schedule of strength goes right in the toilet whenever, you're lined up to play the NFC East this year. But with all of that said, I'm not taking the Bears tonight. And here's why. If you look at the Bears' last 3 games, they've scored 54 points total in the last 3 games. That's 18 points per game. Now, everybody on Twitter, they love to dissect everything we say. Oh, he's cherry picking. He's just talking about the last 3 games. Well, the reason I'm talking about the last 3 games is because that's the 3 games that Nick Foles have started. Okay. So before Twitter hammers me for cherry picking stats, we got to go with what we got tonight. And I wanted the move to Nick Foles. I'm not a Mitchell Trubisky fan, but you got to be honest, he's putting up the same kind of numbers as Trubisky was. Maybe the team plays with a little more confidence with him on the field rather than Trubisky, but still, the numbers aren't there. And what else I'm concerned about the Bears, if you look the last 3 weeks, this team can't run the football. They've become one-dimensional. They've run for 28, 35, and 63 yards. Kelly, you can't win in the NFL being one-dimensional like that, especially against a Ram defense that can put some pressure on the quarterback. If they got to go pass mode all the time, they're going to pin their ears and come after Nick Foles. I like the Rams here. And everybody's going to say, well, last week you guys were all against the Rams against the 49ers. Why do you think this week's any different? Well, here's why. We said last week, we don't want to use that phrase, but you have to. The 49ers were in a must-win situation last week. The season would have unraveled for them if they would have had a division loss to the Rams, with Seattle sitting undefeated at the time and the Rams with only 1 loss. They needed to get that win. Also, look at the schedule. The Rams had played 4 road games in 5 weeks. Granted, the last road trip was a short one. It was from LA to San Fran, but look at the other road games. They played 3 times in 4 weeks on the West Coast, or from West Coast to East Coast. That's a horrible scheduling spot for them. Now it's their turn to be in prime time. They're at home, and basically a must-win for them. Seattle took their first loss last night, but they got to keep pace. And San Francisco, with that win and a win again yesterday, now is gaining traction in the division. If they get healthy, the 49ers are going to be the team that you're going to have to reckon with down the road. They need to get this win tonight, and I think they get it. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to lay the points with them. And although I'm not using the total tonight, I'll give you 2 angles that I have found on the total that does support the under. But this is a low number for 2020 to see a game with a total in prime time of 44.5. We know Vegas is going to automatically put a point and a half on the primetime games simply because they know the public loves to bet overs. But this is at 44.5. In the Rams, this is simple. Going back to last year, when they're a favorite, if you blindly bet the under, you'd be 12-4 to the under when the Rams are installed as a favorite. In Chicago, coming off an outright win as an underdog, it's happened 6 times in the last 3 seasons. They're 6-0 to the under in their next game. So some trends there on the under, but I'm on the Rams. I'll lay the 6, and I can't disagree with you, Kelly. If you want to take some insurance on that bet, teasing them down and hooking them up with some good teaser possibilities for this weekend makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I know. The teasers have just been really, really profitable this year, especially when going through 3 and 7. Really quickly, at Cal Sports LV, that is our stat daddy, Mr. Ralph Michaels. Momentum in the NFL, 86.2% against the spread system. It applied to San Fran yesterday, and it applies for tonight's game. If a home team is off a loss as a favorite, like the Rams are, and a road team is off a win as an underdog, like the Bears are, and the line is within single digits, since 2010, the home team is 4-25 against the spread. That is nauseating. I hope this does not work for Ralph tonight. I hope we see some regression to the mean. VR, you are up. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Monday Night Football. Have you seen anything in the back end of your accounts, or do you have a strong opinion for tonight?
Yeah, I actually bet this game and released it to subscribers. So I'll give it to you right here, no problem at all. I bet under 45, bet under 23 minus 120 in the first half, and I bet the Rams minus 5.5 and released them at -6. So I have 3 bets going into this game, not mentioning any props. It's too early for those. So yeah, we're involved in this Monday night game already, and I agree with it. I mean, listen, Marco nailed it. It is a little low total for a Monday night game, primetime TV, but going in, it's been a high-scoring type of year, and these lines, especially primetime, are shaded towards the over. So believe it or not, this 45 was even higher, at least based on my numbers and the fact that the groups I work with came in on it and confirmed it. That's why I was willing to bet the game and the first half, kind of like with the Bengals yesterday. I had the Bengals, but then when I found out, one of my strongest sources bet them, unloaded on them, and bet them again first half, I said, I'm going to get down more on them too. It just confirmed my suspicion. And it did here with the under. Listen, the last 2 times these 2 teams scored, I think they scored 21 and 24 combined. And I don't see why that's going to change. It's the same style that they operate from, meaning they put pressure on the quarterback and they force you to have to run the football. And that kills a lot of clock. And it's the defensive style of game. And I do not see that changing just because it's 2020. So I think this total true line on a Sunday should have probably been around 43. And even then, I think it would have been shaded, would have got some sharp money on the under. So at 45, it was automatic. And as far as laying 6 on the Rams, I would have liked it better a little lower, but here's the thing with Chicago. They may be 5-1 at top of that division, but they're a very different 5-1 even than the Green Bay Packers. The Chicago point differential is +12. So you're 4 games over 500 by a total of 12 points. Yeah, that doesn't say a lot. There's a lot of randomness to those outcomes when you win by a point or 2. We say it all the time. Prior to the season, we look for regressions and progressions based on last year on those teams that did well or horribly in tight games. Why do we do that? Because we know that when you win by a point or 2, a lot of times the outcome is based on nothing more than randomness. So we expect a progression or regression to happen. And with the Chicago Bears, what do we see? A team that's 5-1, but their point differential doesn't reflect that at all. San Francisco, they're a 4-3 football team. They're 4x the point differential, 4x better point differential than Chicago. Buffalo Bills, they're one of those teams with the negative point differentials as well, where a team like Miami not getting respect, they're a 500 team, but they're +47 point differential. So again, when you look at these records, you got to dig a little bit deeper. And with Chicago, I think that's the case. It's a phony 5-1. Impressive that they've done that, but I think it's based on a little bit of luck. I like the Rams in this spot, and I think they get the cover, and I think it stays under. Looks like the kind of game where I could see a 27-13 type final. Let's go Rams. Let's go under. Like I said, I got 3 bets on tonight's game. Win or lose, week 7 will be a profitable one in the NFL, but hopefully I end it with a nice clean sweep on Monday Night Football. We'll see.
All right. I like when we're all in alignment. I hate any of us being head-to-head. So let's go Rams. Let's go under. Thank you guys for tuning into our Monday Night Football edition of Bet On It. We will be back on Wednesday at Marco in Vegas, at Greek Gambler, at Kelly in Vegas. You guys have a great Monday night.
Every Monday is $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Get any best bet or daily package for only $9.